Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. We ask you to subscribe, review, do it wherever you get your favorite podcast, whether it be Apple, Spotify. You know the drill. Come on, go do it. As we welcome you to episode 90.
Wow, nice big round number, 90. Awesome.
We'll be at
You just had a birthday
soon.
in the week. You just had a birthday in the week between this and the last podcast, so you're getting close to that big number 90, right? I mean, nah, not really.
Now I'm getting close to the big number of 70, though.
Right?
I'm 69.
Right. Well, we all are, but
I'm 69 and feeling fine.
wow. Okay, good for you. Good for you.
I don't know if I should mention this or not, but what it is, I've just finally convinced myself I'm not going to put it out in the universe. I'm going to shoot for a new goal.
Which is?
My mother died at 69.
Oh.
And when I got my heart transplant, I said, oh man, if I could just live to be 69, as old as my mother, I'll be happy. Well, now it's happened, people. Now I think I'm going to shoot for 75.
I think you should definitely push it out a little bit. Absolutely. Yeah.
My brother went to 70. I thought, well, maybe I should go to 70, but I just figured I'm going to go big time. I'm going to go to 75 now. That's my new number.
Okay. I tell people I'm living to 100. I mean,
and having sex.
We're going big time here. We're not fooling around. We're going big time. 100.
Yeah, and I remember you saying you're going to have sex and 100
and play pickleball, not at the same time. So yes.
Come on, be a man. Do them all three at the same time.
Well, I got to get there first, so got a little work to do still. So yeah, but my family, well, I don't know about the rest of my family, but my mother and my father both. My mother was 91. 90, really? Was she 91? Might have been 90. My mother was at least 90 because she and I were 30 years apart, so it was easy to keep track. And then my father was like late 80s, mid to late 80s, 86, 87 when he. So I got time. I'm not going anywhere. I got a lot of time. I got a lot to do. Let's get busy.
Well, I do have something later in the podcast. And I think you're striving towards that. So that makes me feel good. But hopefully we'll get to it because I've got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Okay. Good for you.
But as you said, we were going to talk about my birthday a little bit.
A little bit.
We were going to go, celebrate, and usually around our family, we don't get too crazy around birthday time. But we try to seem to go out to a really nice restaurant.
Right.
And have a nice meal. So we were planning on a nice little meal. We were actually going to go to the same restaurant where I met you in downtown Claremont there on the water.
A nice little waterfront kind of a fish house called the Salt Shack.
Yep.
Shout out to the Salt Shack in downtown Claremont.
So we were going to go there and have a little, a little lunch or a little dinner. We usually have like a late lunch and we call it I don't know what we call it, but we don't only eat like maybe, one really good meal a day.
Right.
And that would have been the meal, obviously.
Right.
So my wife was feeling she woke up with a really bad headache. My birthday, had a headache. You know what that means?
Wow.
Didn't get that present. I'll just say that.
That's just, come on. She's got that on her calendar, right? Have headache the morning of. Yeah.
Well, I would have thought that. But then finally she said, well, I've got to eat something with this headache.
Okay.
Let's just go somewhere down the road. We don't need to go there today. We can do it tomorrow.
Sure.
Or another day.
Sure.
So we no more get in the car. We get about 2.5, 3 miles from the house. Thank God every time we go to Tampa General Hospital, we usually snag a couple of those little plastic puke bags they have.
Are you telling me that one was necessary?
One was necessary. Like I said, we're about maybe 3 miles from home. Oh, I'm getting sick. I'm getting sick. I go, do we have a puke bag in the car? Yeah, I got one. And then before I knew it, I was hearing.
Oh, what a great way to start the show. Thank you so much.
I mean, I felt sorry for her, but
yes, we shouldn't make fun of your wife's illness, but she's okay now.
She seems to be okay now.
Okay, fine. Just to follow the, to put an end to that story. So
basically,
the rest of the story.
My birthday was spent at home the whole day, except for venturing 3 miles out, just making a U-turn and coming back home. Yes.
Now, to me, I've been sick in a car before and it's no fun. The interesting thing to me, though, is that Tampa General has barf bags on hand just to take with you. Well, I mean, you probably just boosted a few of them, but why? Why would they have that around the hospital?
Well, like when you come out of anesthesia or,
I don't know. So
obviously, you have never been in a hospital much.
I have. This is the truth. I think the last time I was in a hospital where I wasn't delivering food for DoorDash, because then you just get as far as the front desk, was to visit you at Tampa General after one of your visits there. And that might have been 25 years ago?
Well, if it was after my transplant, it would have been 21 years ago, because I know you came after that.
Yeah, there was one other time, I think, when I was in Clearwater and you were going for a checkup or something like that I also came to.
But visit, I don't know if you came to the hospital or did you? Because I think
there is a picture there. No, there's a picture out there circulating of me wearing the mask way before the sickness, way before the illness.
Oh no,
you had to wear the mask to visit BJ in the hospital because he was in one of those, super clean, sterile rooms or something like that.
But I think when you did that, it was either the heart or the kidney transplant.
Might have been kidney. Might have been.
I think the only time you were actually in the hospital was after a surgery.
Yes. I mean, I think so. I don't remember. And these aren't like, remember in the old days, this is a little bit of a sidebar, but in the old days, you'd have a physical picture and you would usually write on the back, BJ and Bill visiting BJ in the hospital, 1984, with a date and a place on it. You can't do that anymore. I mean, you can do it digitally, but it's not as easy. So anyway, I don't know. I know there's the picture and I'm not 100% sure when it was taken or when it was done. So, all right, fine. So anyway, barf bags at the hospital.
A lot of times coming out of anesthesia or, I don't know but usually anesthesia does it, or when you're coming out of,
right.
Something like that. You might come out and go, oh, I'm a little sick. And then they have these little bags that they actually have they have like a container that holds them. And it's like, almost like, I want to say a Dixie cup holder.
Right. A little dispenser. Yes.
Yeah. But these things are plastic. It's got like a plastic ring on it.
Right.
And then below the plastic ring is like a little plastic bag.
Okay.
And so you take the ring. Now, I know no one else can see me. Maybe we should start doing a video podcast. So here's the ring, okay? Then you into the ring, and then the underneath bag catches the goo.
Okay. Good to know, I think.
So my wife usually, and so if Tampa General Hospital is listening, I want the police to come after her. She's usually the one that grabs maybe one or two every time I'm in there. She goes, oh, we're low on barf bags. Let me grab a couple here.
Honest to God, that would not cross my mind as something to steal, borrow, something. You're paying for it. I mean, your insurance built that place. So it just wouldn't cross my mind to say, oh, look, free barf bags. Let me take a couple. I mean, when you're in the restaurant, when you're in a fast food restaurant, of course, you grab an extra handful of napkins and they go in the car because you never know when you're going to need them. Everybody has napkins in their car from 2 or 3 or 4 or a dozen places, I think. Anyway, maybe I'm the one that's odd on that one. I don't think so though. But a barf bag, it would never occur to me, never to have one in the car.
Very important in one's hospital.
Yes, I can see that it would be important in the hospital. In the car, not so much.
Well,
maybe.
We got it from the hospital, but it ended up in the car.
Okay. All right. I mean, I can count on one finger the times I've had to barf in a car. So how did we get off on? I know how we got off on this conversation, and it's not pretty, but okay. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody.
My wife and daughter both have the same problem, which is migraine headaches.
Oh dear.
And a lot of times if they've had a migraine headache or they get one and we're traveling, they're going to end up needing a barf bag.
Okay. All right.
It's something it's something that's out there it's family history.
And it actually has a use in your family. So, yes. Okay, good for you. Good for you. All right. So
now
10 minutes on barf bags.
Before we get off the medical field.
Yes.
I learned something this morning.
Uh-oh.
So, I got these little skin cancers. I had to get them cut off.
Right.
And so they put this Band-Aid on it and they said, don't take the Band-Aid off, or at least put another Band-Aid on, and don't get it. It's like a gremlin. Don't get it wet.
Don't feed them after dark.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Don't get it wet.
I've been getting stitches all my life. I've never had a doctor tell me not to get my stitches wet.
Oh.
So today, since tomorrow is 2 weeks and they're going to take the stitches out.
Right.
I needed to take a shower to look good for Bill on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I still have this one bandaged with a waterproof bandage on the upper arm, but the thumb, I figured it's been getting a little wet now and again anyway, because you wash your hands, but I try to keep a Band-Aid on, try to keep it away from water.
Right.
This morning I said, I'm taking a shower. Who cares? It's like, I'm getting it taken out tomorrow.
Okay.
There was still stitches in it when I went in the shower. It seems that they must have been dissolving stitches, because it pretty much looks like all the stitches but one are gone.
Ah.
And thank God it was almost 2 weeks, because
if
I would have done this day one,
you'd have been in trouble.
Yeah, because probably the incision would have opened wide open.
Yee.
So now I understand why they said don't get them wet.
Well, there you go. There you go. Boy, oh boy. This is like General Hospital, this program all of a sudden here. We thought 13 minutes, we're just doing BJ's medical history.
Yeah.
Wow. I get it.
Now I'm Dr. Noah Drake, better known as Rick Springfield.
Right. General Hospital. Right. There you go. All right, doctor. Well, so tomorrow, as we record this on a Monday morning, as we always do, you'll be going back to the doctor to get stitches out. He will look at that and go, BJ, you took a shower, didn't you?
You got that.
And you'll have to fess up to it. You'll have to fess up.
I'm just going to say, I got these wet yesterday. I'm sorry, but it looks like they're all gone now. I don't think you need to take them out.
Right. Yeah. Guess what? He's not charging you any less.
Yeah, that's true.
No, he's charging you the same amount. Yeah. Thanks for doing my job for me. Here's the bill. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. And I understand that, just to hopefully finish this whole medical thing, because I have my follow-up eye doctor appointment on Thursday this week as we record this, because I think I talked about that a few weeks ago. I had a little spot thing going on in my eye, and the doctor's like, yeah, you're probably fine. Come back in 6 weeks. Let's take a look at it, see how it's going. So it's been 6 weeks, and he'll cheerfully charge me the same thing again, and to look in my eye and go, yeah, you're fine.
Now, are your floaters still happening, or are they kind of digressed?
I would say they are still happening, but to, thankfully, a much lesser degree. Okay. So yeah. So I'm cool with that. So, all right. So boy, 15 minutes of podcast gone by, and we are still finishing the medical stuff for two old men just wheezing and groaning about getting old. Wow. Wow. Riveting podcast.
Well, we could turn to the world of sports because I don't have a dog in the fight. And I pretty well had walked away from basketball for the season.
Right. When his Warriors got thrown out of the playoffs in the first round, BJ was pretty much done with it.
Yeah, but not tell you, it's getting exciting again.
Final four. We're down to the final four.
And I don't think it's all the final four we thought were going to be in the final four. I will just say that right now.
Everybody, I'm not going to say everybody. Most basketball fans probably thought with the year that Boston had, yeah, that's one of them. The other three, you're right. Totally like, really? Seriously?
But I will say this, if we're going to talk basketball, of course, if we record this on a Monday, so everything pretty much got 2 Game 7s over the weekend.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised by both.
I was too. So for those who aren't big basketball fans or whatever, it was, well, New York was beat up. The Knicks were beat up and had injuries. And then their star Brunson had a fractured hand during the game in Game 7. He was out. They got beat by Indiana big time. Indiana Pacers, one of the final four. Wow. And then last night, as we record this, do we call it a collapse or a comeback?
We call it a collapse. How are you down? How are you up 20 points being the defending champions, up by 20 points in Game 7 at halftime and lose the game?
We're talking, for those who weren't up late last night, Denver Nuggets were up by 20 at half in a deciding Game 7, exciting in Denver. Minnesota Timberwolves came back to win it, and it was a good game. It was exciting to watch, thankfully, because a few of the other ones were kind of blowouts and were kind of not even watchable. But that one last night, Denver, Minnesota, terrific game. Good job. There you go.
Now I wish I would have watched it because I didn't. I saw the Indiana game, but I figured it was not even going to be a game.
Yeah.
I one time looked at the score, online and said, nope. Okay.
Yeah.
This is ending the way I figured it would. Wake up this morning. Oh my God, it didn't end the way I thought it would.
So your final four, you got out west, you have Dallas Mavericks, Minnesota Timberwolves. Cool. Back east, Indiana Pacers. Wow. Upstart young kids. And the presumed winner, Boston Celtics. So there you go.
Tell you what, I'm a firm believer after this year's playoffs, you got to have a young team, because I think there's way too many games during the year. And these, even not old timers, just kind of the guys that's been around a little bit.
Right.
I think by the time you played that many games and now you're playing hard in 7-game series, there's injuries. And of course, New York, prime example, they had more than half the team out, I think.
And your other half of that point is the young kids hopefully can keep up the pace, because they talked about that with Denver last night with Nikola Jokic, the Joker, played the whole game except for 1 minute. He was visibly tired and worn out in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was just, it wasn't pretty. So, of course, when you're like 7 foot tall, you got to move a lot of body around. It takes a lot of energy. So anyway, yes. So should be great. Should be good. And then I didn't watch a lot of hockey, but that's still going too. And our Florida Panthers are still in it as well. So lots going on in the sports world.
Yeah, they've kind of surprised some people.
Mm-hmm.
They did me anyway. Of course, I've been away from hockey maybe for the last few years and not as involved.
Right.
Maybe I should have been, because this team is quite impressive, I will tell you.
There you go. There you go.
Now, before we get out of sports, I'd like to talk about what I call the elephant in the room.
Okay. Elephants don't play sports, but try me.
Caitlin Clark.
Oh, okay. We've talked about her on the show before, so let's hear it. Let's hear it, BJ Odom.
She has brought so many eyes to the WNBA.
Yes.
She has been basically the news media or the sports media, I'm not going to call it the news media, but they are
Sports.
kind of the news media.
Yeah.
Has pretty much turned her into a superstar, which she was in her college days.
Yes.
Her WNBA is just not there yet. And people are screaming, oh, let's fire the coach. Oh, she's no good. I will say in her first game, yes, she had 10 turnovers, which is terrible.
Terrible.
But she scored 20 points, which her and another player on the other team, that was the team highs.
Right.
20 points. So still, she was the highest scorer on both sides of the court, or at least tied.
Right.
Only had 9 her second game. Then had another pretty big game her third game, but still the team not doing very well. And I think really the media has put too much pressure on her, in my opinion.
I mean, I can't speak for the pressure, but you are right when you never, well, I shouldn't say, I don't want to sound like a total, jerk about it, but you never heard about the WNBA in the past. I mean, yes, they've been out there for years. The league has been playing for years. This year with Clark and others, Angel Reese, from LSU, it has gone from you never heard of it to now it's in your face all the time. And it's been a little bit disappointing to see how her team has gone, how Indiana has gone. So, she's a rookie. She's new. She's learning the ropes. I don't know if it's, like you said, a coach's thing or not, but it would sure be nice if she could make a little bigger splash.
What I'm hoping is that the people that she has brought to the NBA to watch her,
right,
don't fizzle out really fast going, well, she's not what I was expecting.
Right.
It is, like you say, it's her first year. It's going to take some time for her to get used, to the WNBA. And,
sure.
and she's playing now.
Sure.
She was playing college ball. Now she's playing with the best female basketball players in the world.
Yes.
Because, they come from all over to play in the WNBA because it is the elite basketball league in the world.
Right.
So give her a chance, people. Don't give up on her yet. I'm not, and I hope you don't either. But I don't know if this is going to be a funny bit, it's going to be a sad bit, or maybe you will know. Maybe you will know these answers.
Try me.
I've been watching the NBA.
Yes.
And the WNBA.
Yes.
Why are the basketballs different colored in the WNBA? They're orange and white. And when they go into the air and they twirl, it's like, it messes up my eyes. It's just too hard to watch.
Tell me I'm wrong. The basketball is a little smaller too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It's like shoe sizes, I guess. In women's basketball, it's a size 6 weighing 20 ounces.
You mean it's a real number? There's a size 6 basketball? What does that mean?
I don't know. It's a size 6.
Okay. And in men's?
In men's, it's a size 7 and 22 ounces. So they're 2 ounces
heavier,
lighter in the NBA. Well, yeah.
Heavier in the regular NBA.
Yeah.
So it is so interesting. I mean, we'd have to get some numbers there, but and I have no problem with that. You're right. It does look a little funny when the shot goes up and the ball is spinning and it looks, like I don't know what that is. It looks like a pinwheel or something going through the air. So it is kind of weird, but I'm okay with that. I don't. Now I'm going to show off my ignorance of the game. Hoop, same height?
I believe so. Yeah. 10 feet.
Okay. All right. So I didn't, because I know that they've made a big deal out of, like, there's only 1 or 2 lady players that have ever been able to dunk the basketball. And I'm like, okay, it wouldn't be a big deal if the hoop were not as high as the regular NBA. So it must be the same. So I assumed it was the same. So you're telling me it is. That's cool.
Well,
smaller ball though.
I would have to actually look into that because I hadn't looked into it before we started, but I do believe it's the same height.
All right, I will do that while we chat, and I will let you know.
High school, I know. College,
right?
NBA, all 10 feet.
Okay.
But
NBA.
now I know, like if you go and you play like summer league kids basketball,
right?
Some of the younger ages take it down to like 6 and 8 feet.
Well, so now I am finding that BJ and Bill appear to be wrong. Not a surprise. If I type in hoop height, NBA versus WNBA, Microsoft Bing, the search engine, comes back, and I'm going to check Google here in a second. This just came up first. Standard height for the NBA rim is 10 feet. Standard height for the WNBA, 9 feet, 4 inches. So maybe we are wrong.
We probably are, because I was just thinking what I know. But now, I think if you look at college ball, I'm almost sure, at least for men, college basketball is 10. And I know at least it was back in my day when I was a kid, the boys basketball in high school, also 10 feet.
And as I look at it, again, see, you got to check you got to check your sources, because I put it into Google, and Sports Analytics Group of Berkeley University, height of the basketball is constant across leagues. Both men and women play on a 10-foot tall hoop. Okay.
See, that's what I thought.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know, as long as I can remember, it was 10 feet. And then I noticed, when my grandkids were playing, that they call it upward basketball or something. It's the Christian base. It's usually, if you're in Fort Myers, it's usually at the Baptist church out there on Colonial.
Right.
Their hoops are a little bit shorter than they are. They put them a little lower than 10 feet. For the younger group, anyway.
Now I'm on a web page that is the 5 major differences between the WNBA and the NBA. And of course, we know the game is a different length. WNBA 4 quarters, 10 minutes each. We know that. 3-point line is a little bit closer in the women's game. Not much. Changes made to the court in the WNBA, the length of the 3-point line. In women's basketball, the 3-point line is slightly closer. At the top of the key, the 3-point line is 22 feet. While at the corners, it's 21.75 feet. In the NBA, the 3-point line is 23.75 feet. So 1 3/4 feet farther at the top of the key, and just 3/4 of a foot from the corners. So there you go. There you go.
Now this is kind of sad in a way.
What's that?
I guess they got to have their own equipment, because that means, like, when they had a league, I remember, our Everblades in Fort Myers.
Right.
They also had a G League or something, a lower class basketball league that they would play there.
Oh, yes.
And I know they had their own court, and they'd throw it down,
yes.
so you could see the ball games. So this must mean, because I know Indiana has, the ladies is the Fever.
Right.
And the other one is the Pacers, but I do believe they play in the same arena.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I believe you're right.
So that means they both have to have their own separate courts that they drag out and set up for each individual game.
Well, and yes, they do, because that first home game of the ladies, of the Fever, of the ladies game, that court was completely different. It had like lots of cool designs and paint and stuff on it. So yes, I'm sure that they have a whole different set of flooring that they can pull in, pull out, that sort of thing. Yeah. Maybe it just flips over. Maybe they just turn the tiles over and it's the NBA on the other side. No, I don't think so. Cool idea though.
Seems like a lot of work, if you ask me.
It is a lot of work.
The ladies are playing tonight. We gotta bring out the new court.
It is. I love those. And this is this is a different sport, but in football, there, occasionally there will be like a college game, in Dallas, for example. There's a big college game at AT&T Stadium at, Saturday night, and Sunday at 1 p.m. the Cowboys are playing. I love those time lapse videos of them showing them, repainting the whole thing, tearing it down, pulling it together, putting it together. It's like, wow. So
Well,
it takes some work, but it can be done.
That's like here in Orlando.
Yeah.
Orlando, the Magic were still playing in the tournament,
Right.
while the Solar Bears were playing in the ECHL, which is hockey.
Right. Same
And
building.
there was one day that like I think they played an afternoon game. I don't know which one was which, but one game was in the afternoon, one was in the evening, and they pretty much worked from
right
start to finish, between games, and it was time to let them in for the next game by the time they were finishing up. So that had to be a lot of work.
Do they keep the ice under the basketball floor?
I think they do. I think they do.
Yeah. Wow.
You'd almost have to. How are you going to get?
Yeah, you couldn't refreeze it. You couldn't refreeze it in a few hours. Well, you might, but wow. Okay. All right. So sports trivia. Look at us. Killed a half an hour talking about nothing but two old men getting old and sports trivia. Awesome. So enjoy your basketball, enjoy your hockey, enjoy your WNBA. We look forward to good things from you. And we're giving you a pass. We're giving you some time, but we're looking for good things.
Yeah, please don't give up on her. That's all I'm asking you, people that went to the WNBA,
right,
to watch Caitlin. But
right.
Still, even what I'm reading is even the other teams, though, the entire league has elevated. So that is good.
Yes.
Not only are people, of course, when Caitlin Clark comes to town, she's a box office.
Yes.
So we'll sell more tickets for a Caitlin Clark game than any other game. But when she's not playing, the WNBA numbers are up. So it is a good thing as of right now.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I would go. I mean, it's not the NBA. I get it. But it's a good competitive game. And you're seeing some stars. You may not know them yet, or maybe you do if you've been following the WNBA or if you've been following ladies college basketball. So yeah, it's a good game and it's competitive. And I would, if the opportunity, here I am in Gainesville, I could probably go see the Lady Gators play or something like that. So yeah, it's a good game. So
and of course you get to see, Shaq's daughter play this year.
That's right. Shaq.
I actually might have to come up and see a game.
Has committed to the Gators and it's going to be exciting. So yeah. Then that's coming. That's all coming. All right.
This is a tease. I'm going to do a tease here.
Tease. Go for it.
I saw something in the news and it pertains to sports, but we're going to just for a couple minutes. I want to switch to the NFL, and the rumors are at all true. I want to hear what Bill Stevens has to say. And I can tell by the way he nodded his head. He knows what I'm talking about. And we're coming back next.
Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. Please feel free to leave us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, doesn't matter. You can leave a review and the 5 stars wherever, and we would appreciate it. If you want to stop by and say hi or drop a picture or a memory or a joke, you can do that on our Facebook group. Just do a search for BJ and Bill podcast. And like I always say, you have to spell out the and BJ, A-N-D, Bill podcast. And there you go. We're back. And BJ was going to threaten me with some sports story. I'm pretty sure I already know what it is. And it hurts a lot.
It kind of gets me just a little excited. Living here in Orlando, I will admit, I'm going, oh, this might be something. I still got to go down where the traffic is like, everybody knows a little bit about Orlando, Florida.
Sure.
I-4 downtown.
The worst.
The parks, the theme parks, traffic is just,
Oh, yeah. And always under construction.
So if you live in Orlando, there are places you just don't like to go.
Right.
But in 2027, if it happens, I'll probably go, Bill.
2027. What's out there?
That's what they're talking about. And I know you know what I'm talking about. The Jacksonville.
Now I'm not so sure. I thought I knew it when we were going into the break, and now I'm not so sure. So spill the beans.
The Jacksonville Jaguars may be moving to Orlando in 2027.
I, period, had, period, not period, heard that, exclamation mark.
Well, what
That's
did you
news
think
to
I
me.
was going to say?
What? No. The other, haven't you heard the other rumor? Haven't you heard the other rumor and again, this is all coming from Dallas. I don't know what the Jaguars are thinking or saying or talking about, but it's all coming from Dallas where it's like, we need to back up Dak Prescott. How about, I don't know. How about that kid, Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville? He's pretty good. And I'm like, no. So anyway, there's a rumor that Trevor Lawrence might be going, but I don't see that happening because that would pretty much be the end of that team. I mean, I don't know. It wouldn't be the end. I get it. But so moving to, wow. So there's two wild rumors to Orlando. I'd be there in a minute. Well, I don't know. But I mean,
and they even
it's probably the same distance from where I'm at to Jacksonville Stadium is probably the same as where it would be in Orlando. So anyway, where the hell would they put a stadium in Orlando?
I wouldn't doubt they would play where they play the Orange Bowl.
Oh,
that's a new stadium.
The Camping World Stadium?
But that's a big stadium. Have you been there?
I've driven past it, so I don't. Yeah, I understand it's a big stadium, but it's not an NFL stadium. It's not like it's not like the Superdome. It's not like Jerry World in Dallas. Come on. It's an outdoor college stadium.
Yeah, but it can be.
They'll build another one. Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned that because my Cleveland Browns are having that discussion in Cleveland now. And apparently the owners really want to stay downtown, but that's kind of a pain in the butt with that older stadium downtown Cleveland that, it's always been difficult to get to. And there's a couple of suburbs out on the west side where I used to live that are saying, hey, come over, come on down. We got space, we got room, whatever. But anyway, that's probably still 5 years away. So you're saying, all right, so give me a number. Give me a, what's the over under on this? What is the possibility of it actually happening?
I don't know. But rumor is. And the rumor even had a year.
I hear that.
2027, which isn't that far away.
Which is weird because if you go to, and I don't know if it's still on the Jaguars website, but they had a gorgeous, beautiful rendering of what they want to do to rebuild the Jacksonville Stadium and the whole riverfront area where the stadium is at. Kind of a big redevelopment thing, which looked awesome, looked beautiful. Orlando, I don't get it. I mean, I understand the draw. I mean, look, they put an NFL team in Las Vegas right behind the casinos. Anything that brings people is good. I get it. I understand that. You want to bring more tourists. But Orlando? Really? Wow. That's weird.
I wonder if ABC could have anything to do with this and, ESPN. They have that ESPN World or whatever, where they do sporting events and cheering events and baseball events. Wide world of sports or whatever that complex
and they
is.
finished the NBA season that year, the sickness year. They had the bubble season there in Orlando, which was genius. But NFL in Orlando, I thought the same thing about Las Vegas when I heard, we're going to build a football stadium in Las Vegas. I'm like, really? Because most people go to gamble, right? Well, wait a minute. Okay, now the NFL is all over gambling. So I got to look that up. When you and I are done recording this podcast, I am Googling the hell out of that to find out what's going on.
I can think though, can you imagine if they got their own team It'd be called the Mouseketeers.
Better than the Rats. But yeah, no, I don't see Orlando getting it. I don't see Orlando getting its own team. I mean, look at, you got one in Tampa, you got one in Jacksonville, you got one in Miami. Now you want to put a fourth Florida NFL team? Wow. I would think Jacksonville division would move before you'd get a new one, but I don't know.
Maybe they ought to just move the Buccaneers.
Maybe they ought to just, I hear you. No, the Bucs aren't going anywhere. Famous last words. I've said so many things that are like, that would never happen. And it always does. Not always, but the weirdest stuff that you're like, that'll never happen. And then it does. So anyway, but you've shaken up my Monday, BJ Odom. You have shaken my Monday to its core. I just want you to know that.
I just glimpsed on that and only saw it once, and it could be fictional. Were you like looking up? Was that an April Fool's joke from somebody? Or well, it was just the other day. If it is,
all right, you're gonna make me do it again. Doggone it! You're gonna make me go to Google again
while we're doing this show. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk again about AI and some of the things it does.
Yes.
We always tell you, to go to, the BJ and Bill the podcast.
Yes.
And write a review, and
yes,
it was that 5-star review.
Yes.
Well, now if you are maybe one of those people that really don't like BJ's voice, or you don't like Bill's voice, you can now go to the podcast, at least on Apple, I know, and go to our page there on Apple Podcast.
Right.
And if you don't want to listen, you can read the transcript.
Oh. Because people
podcast.
Want to read about our medical problems and our whatever. Yeah.
I was just like the other day, I was like going, listening to our podcast. I think it was just last week or the week before.
Right.
I go, hey, because I saw a commercial, started talking, I thought it was like show notes.
Right.
But it was an advertisement. And I go, why is this advertisement thing on our show notes? And then I kept reading and I kept looking and I go, oh my God, they've transcribed. So they must have downloaded it. And that commercial must have came up because it wasn't the commercial I heard.
Right.
But it had a commercial transcribed and then it had our entire show transcribed. Well, I don't know if it's the entire. I quit looking after, a couple of minutes. I go, okay, that
looks like a lot. That's a lot of reading.
Yeah. You know what? We could copy that and we could put it in AI and see if we could get BJ and Bill, and we could just type our podcast. We wouldn't even have to talk anymore.
It's easier to talk. It's easier for two old men to talk. But I understand what you're saying because believe me, I'm doing, my little marketing group, my little online marketing people that I'm involved with, we're finding these amazing AI tools all over the place that are coming out now. So, they can do everything. Okay. I want a video about the Jacksonville Jaguars moving to Orlando. I want to see sad people in Jacksonville. I want to see happy people in Orlando. I want to see the team bus. And you just plug that into AI and it will spit out a 10-minute video with videos, with narration, with a voice, the whole thing. And it'll be pretty darn good. So anyway.
Well, know what?
So wait a minute. What?
We're talking about, this Orlando and Jacksonville move that may happen.
I have news about that. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to read this. This comes from AARP.
There's an authority.
It wants to inform us that we get an average of 12 fake messages a day.
12 fake messages a day.
Now, I don't know. Is this like email messages? Is this text messages? Or is it messages that we see, during the day? But they say we get an average of 12 fake messages per day. Maybe this is one of those fake messages.
It could be. It could. I do, as you know, and as our listeners might know, I do some videos now and then about using your iPhone and your iPad and all that sort of stuff. Bill's, go to my YouTube channel. But anyway, long story short, I have done so many videos this year about here's another email and look, and it's fake. Don't fall for it. And yeah, there's so much going on out there. It's insane. So please, folks, please be careful out there. And I've said this, and my point, and I don't know if I've said it on this show or not, but I'm going to say it now. And that is, no company, no big tech company, Apple, Facebook, Samsung, Google, Microsoft, no big company is ever reaching out to you on the phone to say, hey, we found a problem with your iPhone. We found a problem with your computer. We found a whatever. We're going to need to help you. We're here to help. And just let us log into your computer. Don't ever do that. It's always a scam and a fake. Always. Now, if Bill calls Apple and Apple calls me back, okay, fine. That's fine. But nobody is ever calling you out of the clear blue to say they found a problem and you need to do something to let them help. It's always a scam. Always.
Well, that's even
I'm off my horse now.
With our Facebook page, at least once a week, maybe twice a week, I will read one of the messages on Messenger, and it says we have done something wrong and our page is going to be taken down within the next 24 hours unless we click the link and go explain things. Like I said, I get those about once a week.
Yep.
Never went to any of them to say, hey, don't shut us down. We're nice people. We didn't do that.
Right.
And guess what? Our Facebook page is still here.
There you go.
And it was supposed to have been shut down many of times.
I can't tell you how many of those emails I see that I receive and that my old computer clients receive. Hey, Bill, I just got this email. Is it fake? Yes. Yes, it is. It's a fake. It's a scam. Don't ever fall for it. So yeah, unless you reach out first.
Now, if you copy something on Facebook, can they do something? Because I see that all the time too, and people are, I want to, they copy and paste it so that their pictures won't be used by anyone else that you may have posted on Facebook. It's like,
what are you asking? I don't understand the question.
I see people it says, copy and paste this because your pictures are being used in advertising and other, make sure you post this message so your pictures can't be copied.
Guess what? When you sign up for a Facebook account, nobody ever reads the dreaded TOS, terms of service. Nobody reads it. You scroll down past 30 pages of legal mumbo jumbo and you click the accept button on the bottom. Everybody does it all the time, period, with everything. You get a new iPhone, it's 50 pages. Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, Twitter, X, all the same. If you post something on Facebook, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to Facebook, and they can do with it whatever they want. Period. You signed your rights away when you click that accept button.
I kind of like to see my pictures in some kind of advertisement.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna start posting more.
I'm okay with that, especially when you put the BJ and Bill podcast out there. Absolutely. Do it a lot. That's fine. I love it. All right. Now wait, just so we don't leave football fans gasping. Yours truly went back to Google and put in Jaguars to Orlando. Okay. Jaguars team president, Mark Lamping, says that if and when the Jaguars get Jacksonville council approval to begin their project stadium, construction would start in the 2025 season, with the Jaguars playing in front of a reduced capacity and then hosting home games either in Orlando's Camping World Stadium or, get this, Gainesville's Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at the University of Florida. Woohoo!
Oh, so this is while they're building the new stadium?
So this is while the new stadium, that's the first paragraph that came up in Google. I'm just reading it back to you word for word, whatever I got. So I don't think the Jaguars are going anywhere. I think they may need a new temporary place, a new temporary home while their stadium is under construction. And if they came to Gainesville, OMG. Because I'm not 100% sure, but I would bet money that my stadium on campus holds more than Camping World Stadium does. I'm just guessing.
Might do that
capacities, but I don't want to get that much into the weeds. But anyway, I think, and I hope that we have figured out BJ's rumor here. Now, Trevor Lawrence still in play. That rumor is still in play. So, wow. All right.
In the very beginning of the podcast, we were talking about health.
Yes.
And I said, I got something for you later in the podcast.
Yes.
Listen to this. We talk about too our diets and what we eat, and it has so much to do with our health.
Oh, absolutely.
Processed food makes up 60% of the calories of the American diet.
Not in this house. Dun, dun, dun. But I've seen the way BJ Odom eats, and it's more like 90%. So we're balancing each other out.
Although I will admit, we eat a lot of fresh fruit in this house.
Good. That's not a bad thing. But how many, BJ, be honest with the people of America and yours truly. 7 dinners in a week. There are 7 days in a week, 7 dinner opportunities. How many of those 7 do you eat at a restaurant?
I'm going to say 5. But again,
thank you for being honest.
I will say this though, like I said earlier in this podcast.
Yes.
The wife and I usually, and we could eat it at home. We eat we eat breakfast. And I know that's got some processed food in it because I usually.
What do you have for breakfast? You got to be better than we eat breakfast. I eat breakfast. I'm going to have breakfast when I'm done recording this podcast. It will be eggs and bacon. No processed food. No processed. Bacon's a little processed.
I usually have a boiled egg.
Right.
And I usually have some muskmelon or or not muskmelon, but cantaloupe. Whatever you want to call it.
Fruit. Yeah.
And then here's the one that probably is not good. I have a muffin, like an English muffin with butter and jelly.
Butter is great. Butter is real fat. Your brain needs fat. People are wrong about that. Lots of people think, fat is bad. No, your brain runs on fat. That's the only thing that works. So good for you. Jelly, not so much. Muffin, not so much. I'm going to have eggs. I'm going to slather them with butter, and I'm going to have bacon and probably some butter on that too, along with my coffee, which coffee may be a little bit processed, not entirely. Without a doubt, it is the things that we put into our mouth that make us healthy or sick, period. There are so many illnesses and so many diseases and so many conditions and so many things that blah, 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 blah. Every time I watch these new drug commercials on TV, I'm like, just eat a fracking steak and be done with it. And I think the world of dietitians and blah, 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 they're still pushing that crazy food pyramid thing, but some of them are coming around to figure it out. All right, I'm done with my rant. I'm probably not done with my rant. I will continue it at some point. But it is things we eat that make us sick or healthy, period.
Well, the day after my birthday, when my wife wasn't using a bag, we went to Roadhouse. So I had a steak.
This Roadhouse.
I had a steak.
How many of those yummy yeast buns did you eat?
I only eat one. I will never eat more than one. No, I only eat one. I swear. Because
you're a better man than I am, BJ Odom.
Well, I have I have problems with my sugar.
Right.
And those things that's why I don't like eating an English muffin either. Not so much the process is just, got all the carbs in it that turns to sugar. But I'll only allow but of course I, use the cinnamon butter.
Of course.
But
I've got 2 or 3 of those things wolfed down before the waitress even comes to take my order. I am the worst with I really have to rein it in. But give myself some credit. I can make a steak at home. I can make a burger at home. I can make eggs and bacon at home. And I do. So yeah.
Yeah, we need to eat more at home. That would probably, but I will say this: we're not really fast food people.
Okay.
So, like, unless we're like on the road, like let's say we're taking a vacation,
Sure.
or, maybe we've been to Tampa for a doctor, but that'll usually be a restaurant too. But usually we go to a restaurant, we eat, restaurant food, but we don't eat like fast food restaurant food.
I hear you trying to tell me it's different, but I still know that even if you eat in a real restaurant, it's probably a lot of food is probably fried in crazy oils and all sorts of stuff that's just not good for you. And I realize, and I'm no expert on this. I have done a little bit of reading about it, and I am trying to make changes in my own life. They are slow and difficult. This is Bill talking, changing the way I eat and my relationship with food is the hardest thing I've ever done. The hardest.
Yeah, we both need to get a divorce from food.
Last night, I'm sitting watching the basketball game. It's 9-10 o'clock at night, and it is killing me that I don't have some sort of snack, potato chips, tortilla chips, popcorn in hand to go with that basketball game. Not that the basketball game makes me hungry, but sitting there on the couch watching TV, I just have that craving for some kind of little something to be stuffing my face with. Crazy.
Yeah, I usually take something when I take my pills at night. And that's usually, a lot of times I take these little whole grain, and I don't know what they're supposed to be. They got omega in them and all that. I get them from Publix.
From Publix, like a breakfast bar kind of a thing, or a snack
No,
bar
it's
kind,
it's like a vegetarian cookie, or it's like a muffin. And they're in the bakery, but they're in a special section. It's not like a regular cookie or whatever they're supposed to be.
That's
using the words.
Is how crazy. Yeah, that's how crazy the food world is. People can say I'm vegan. Okay, you know what? Beer and French fries are vegan. Great. How's that working for you? So I get it. Yeah.
Whole grain. I
It's
don't know.
what you put in your mouth that matters.
Yeah. Well, another thing.
You got a team of medical professionals taking care of you. You're gonna be around past all of us. So I get it.
I'm 69 now. I can eat whatever I want to.
That's pretty much it. That's so. If in case you missed the beginning of the show, BJ Odom has reset his clock. Now his goal was to live to be 69. Now it's 75. So we got another 6 years at least. Awesome.
Yeah, I got to put up with me, you little bastards.
That's all right. We'll somehow we will make it work. It's okay.
Hey,
all right.
Before we get out of here, I'm just going to do it tomorrow. Well, no, because it'll already be out, because our podcast comes out on Wednesday. So the day before our podcast comes out, it'll be the latest Gift of Life, the organ transplant podcast. And I talked to Ashley from LifeLink. Gives us some of the myths of, donating, your organs, and just some really good information from some real professionals that really know what they're talking about.
And that podcast is.
And I just sit there and smile and look pretty and let her answer questions.
Fine. That's good. So that podcast comes out on Tuesdays. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. And ours comes out on Wednesday. And if you ever get your new one up, then you can put it out on Thursday. Because, see, I was putting it out on Wednesday, and I was scolded by my child.
You were scolded by the boss.
He says, you need to put it out on a different day so it doesn't fall on the same day as your other podcast.
I see the wisdom in that. I do. Yes, that's a good idea.
So yours will have to come out Thursday.
And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. And Miss Vicky was on vacation, and actually she and her husband swung through town. We had lunch together last week when they were driving from Naples back up to Blue Ridge, and so they stopped here and we had lunch, and they were on their way. But yes, we're going to get back to that, get back to the recording studio, and those will be coming out. I'm going to say not this week, but next, because I have a ton of them recorded. I just need to start publishing them. So yeah, I got to talk to the boss and make sure that's all set. And Thursday's a great day. I'm good with that. It's all good. It's all good.
So,
all right, BJ Odom, go have some breakfast. Had illness. Try and make it healthy.
Sports.
What?
So we've had illnesses, we've had sports, we've had eating.
Covered it all.
Now,
yeah.
Next week's episode,
Podcast.
We'll have wild, passionate sex. Make sure you join us. I don't know. It's just it was a good it was just a good tease. I'm just trying to get more listeners next week. I have no idea what that means.
If you can make that happen, I'll watch. No, I won't watch. No. Rewind, cancel, erase.
Maybe we should put that next week's podcast on YouTube so everyone can watch.
Oh boy. No, thank you. All right, BJ Odom, you have yourself a wonderful week. Everybody else, like I said, stay safe out there. Eat good stuff. Take good care of yourself. Enjoy life for another day, week, month, year, whatever we got left. Make the best of it. Until then, it's just up to BJ Odom to say,
see ya!